Hi. So the framework I chose is under the grade 11 and 12 reading standards for literature. And it is under the integration of knowledge and ideas. It is framework 7 under this section. And the framework basically is the ability to analyze more critical responses to literature. So, looking at literature under a critical lens, whether it be a historical lens, a feminist lens, a psychological lens, et cetera, et cetera. Um, and I think when teaching that personally, it would really depend, obviously, on the piece of literature you're teaching at the time. So, like, if you're teaching The Scarlet Letter, you might want to go into the more obvious lens of feminism and look at where feminism really takes place in The Scarlet Letter. So, asking important questions like why is Hester so willing to accept her fate with the Scarlet Letter, why she is choosing to go against the grain, remove herself from society, um, and look at the more obvious aspects in her story, but then maybe go into some of the underlying things. Um, it might be interesting to look at some of the more biblical references in the story. Uh, Hester has she has a child out of wedlock, so it might be interesting to look at how that compares to the Virgin Mary, who also had a child out of wedlock, although she was blessed with her child by God. So maybe looking at those comparisons might be interesting in a classroom setting, and I think it real with things like this, it can be really interesting to leave it up to the students to kind of break it down and to intercept where you think they're either going off track a little bit or to just maybe plant an idea in their head of where you want them to go with it. So leaving it as an open discussion might be very interesting, especially when you read things like maybe even The Great Gatsby. That can be really interesting if you're looking at it from a psychological lens. Um, and just asking kids' opinions on the characters can be so fun. Um, and seeing like how they feel, just letting them spitball what they think about the characters and letting that lead them into um the actual psychological aspects. Like, is a certain character narcissistic? Like Tom Buchanan, he's very obviously narcissistic, but let's maybe look into the whys of that. um why is Daisy so wanting to leave but also very unwilling to leave? Look into that maybe a little bit. Why is Gatsby doing all of this for Daisy after so many years? Looking into that, and I think talking, just having a discussion based class on these topics can be really fun and really interesting. And I think in terms of homework, it might be interesting to have an assignment based on writing down their thoughts about what we discussed, what the characters, um, how the characters reflect, and just in general the topic of this of discussion. Um, but yeah, I think that covers it for the most part of what I would like to do with this framework.